3.2b is on two-way frequency tables. So we've already talked about Venn diagrams. Remember, that's our circles is our way of just organizing the data. So a two-way frequency table is just another way of organizing data. It's used to show the frequency of data by categorizing it into two different categories. So let's look at a problem. A group of students were asked if they have a cell phone and a tablet. Of the 200 students surveyed, 160 had a cell phone. There were 68 that had a tablet, and of those, 57 had a cell phone. So if we were going to use a Venn diagram to display this, well, it tells us that 57 students have a tablet and a cell phone, so that goes in the middle of our Venn diagram. And then we can use our totals to figure out that 11 students have just a tablet and 103 students have just a cell phone. So this is the information that's readily available in our Venn diagram. A two-way frequency table gives us a little bit more information just at a glance. So it displays more information than your Venn diagram does. So we're going to fill out these columns. So notice that, like, here's my tablet. So this would be where the students who have a tablet and a cell phone. This is students who have a tablet and no cell phone. And this is the total number of students who have a tablet. So that's how you read the table. I'm looking at our columns. Well, right here would be the number of students who have a cell phone and a tablet. Here would be the number of students who have a cell phone but no tablet. And here would be the total number of students who have a cell phone. So again, that's just how you read your two-way frequency table. Let's start by filling in our information. Well, our total number of students is 200, and we already figured out that of those 200, 57 have both a tablet and a cell phone. Well, we know that 11 have just a tablet, so they have a tablet and no cell phone. And look at that, 57 plus 11 gives us that total of 68 that have a tablet, and that's what our original problem told us. Our original problem told us that 160 have a cell phone. So if we go to cell phone and we go to total, well, 160 have a cell phone. Okay, and then these should add up. So if we take the number of students who have a cell phone and a tablet and the number of students who have a cell phone and no tablet, it should add up to be 160. All right, so 160 minus 57 is 103. And notice that matches what we found in our Venn diagram for students who have a cell phone but no tablet. Then to fill in the rest of this, well, students who have no cell phone and no tablet, okay, again, we can use our Venn diagram to kind of fill out the rest of this. So we know that 160 plus 40 should give us our total of 200. 11 plus 29 should give us our total of 40. So just by filling in this table, we found out that 29 students have no cell phone and no tablet. Well, 103 plus 29, okay, I'm looking at this row right here, 103 plus 29 tells us that we have a total of 132 students that have no tablet. So that's how you fill out your two-way frequency table. You just figure out where your numbers go. Then with two-way frequency tables, there are also a couple different types of frequencies that we want to look at. So a conditional frequency is the row or column percentage. The marginal frequency is the row or column total. And a joint frequency, it's where you take one variable from the row and one variable from the column. So here's an example of a two-way frequency, and it kind of tells you your joint frequencies are when you find kind of those middle frequencies, and your marginal are your row and column total frequencies. So to find these frequencies, we're really going to be finding the percentages. So let's practice this. So a relative frequency is calculating the percentage in the table. And in order to calculate a percentage, we divide. So we're going to divide in order to calculate these percentages. So if we are looking at finding the relative frequency or the joint frequency for the number of students who have a tablet and a cell phone, we're going to take 57, the number of students who had a tablet and a cell phone, and divide it by 200. The total number of students, right? So 57 divided by 200 gives us 0.84, which is 84%. So 84% of students have a cell phone and a tablet. Then we just do this with the rest of our two-way frequency table. So we're going to take 11 divided by 200, gives us a total of, gives us a total of 5.5% of students have a tablet and no cell phone. Well, we had a total of 68 students who had a tablet out of the 200 students. that gives us 34% of students have a tablet. Now it'd be a good time to pause and see if you can fill out the rest of these percentages. 103 divided by 200, see 29 divided by 200. Notice I'm just taking that total from our two-way frequency table we already set up, and I'm dividing it by 100, and that is what is giving us our percentages. Okay. So we should have 51.5% of students that have a cell phone and no tablet. We have 14.5% of students that have no cell phone and no tablet. We have 66% of students that have no tablet. See, 160 divided by 200 gives us 80% of students have a cell phone, and 40 divided by 200 gives us 20% of students have no cell phone. Notice that for our two-way frequency table, the total column should add up. So 80% plus 20% gives us 100%. 34% plus 66% equals 100%. That should always happen, and so you can always kind of check your totals by making sure they add up correctly. So that's based off our total number of students, is that relative frequency. Then we can find the conditional frequency. So conditional frequencies are either based off of rows or columns. So if they're based off of rows, we need to remember that there are a total of 68 students who have a tablet and 132 students that have no tablet, because that's what our rows represent. And so instead of taking our frequencies and dividing it by that total of 200 students, we're going to take the frequency and divide it by the row total. So 50 students had a cell phone and a tablet, divided by the row total of 68 gives us 84% of students. Well, 11 students had a tablet and no cell phone, divided by the 68 who have a tablet gives us 16% of those students. And notice how if we add those up, it equals 100. Okay, then for our next row, we're dividing by 132. So we're taking 103 divided by 132 is 78%. We're taking 29 divided by 132 equals 22% of students. So these are the conditional frequencies. These are the percent of students based off the condition that they have no tablet. And then there are a row total. Well, looking at it, we've got 160 divided by 200. Well, that's still 80%, and 20 divided by 200 is, 40 divided by 200 is 20%. Then we're going to do the same thing, except we're going to do it with our columns to find the conditional frequency based off of our cell phone or our no cell phone. So again, we're doing the same thing, except for our cell phone, we're dividing by 160. And for our no cell phone, we're dividing by 40, because those are our column totals. So we are going to take 57 divided by 160 is 36%. Now would be a good time to pause the video and see if you can fill in the rest of these percentages. Well, no tablet, based on our original frequency table, 103 students had a cell phone and no tablet. So 103 divided by 160 is 64% of students. Then for our no cell phone column, we've got 11 divided by 40 is 27.5%. And then 29 divided by 40 is 72.5%. Well, we had a total of 68 divided by 200 is 34% of students. And 132 divided by 200 leaves us with 66% of students. So to calculate those conditional frequencies, you just figure out if you're talking about the row or the column, and you divide by that row total or that column total, as opposed to in that first frequency table we filled out for those relative frequencies, we divided by the total number of students. That's kind of the difference there. We're going to look at one more problem. We're going to look at figuring out how to answer some questions based off of our two-way frequency table. So here's that same two-way frequency table we've been looking at, and here are some questions. So letter A, what percentage of students have a tablet and a cell phone? Well, we're talking about the total percent. 57 students have a tablet and a cell phone out of our total of 200 students. And notice how this is something we already found, right? If we go up to our relative frequency table, we found that this is 84%. So our answer, what percentage of students have a tablet and a cell phone? Well, 84% of students have a tablet and a cell phone. Let's try the next one. It'd be a good idea to pause and see if you can answer any of these for yourself. Letter B, what percent of students have no tablet? So again, what percent of students? We're talking about overall. So our no tablet, we have a total of 132 students have no tablet divided by that overall total of 200. And again, we already found that percentage. That would be 66% of students have no tablet. So when we take 132 divided by 20, again, that's our 66% of students have no tablet. So notice how we already have answered these questions. We're just reading our table to answer them specifically. Letter C, what is the conditional frequency of students who have both a cell phone and a tablet to all students who have a tablet? So let's see. 57 students have both a cell phone and a tablet. To all students who have a tablet, well, I'm going to find the tablet row, and I have a total of 68. So we're taking 57 divided by 68 is 83.8% of students, or I think when we found that before, we found that 84% of students, right? 84% of students that so again, this is the conditional frequency of students who have a cell phone and a tablet to all students who have a tablet. Letter D, what is the conditional frequency of students who have a tablet and no cell phone to all students who have no cell phone? Well, we're going to figure out how many students have a tablet and no cell phone. So looking at our problem, we have 11 students have a tablet and no cell phone. To all students who have no cell phone, that's 11 to 40. So that is one of our conditional column frequencies. 11 divided by 40 is 27.5% of students who have a tablet and no cell phone to all students who have no cell phone. So these are our two-way frequency tables. Again, we divide to find those total frequencies, right, all those percents. And then again, this last slide, we were just using our tables we had filled out to answer specific questions about this data. So two-way frequency table, it's just another way to organize data.